Now, our final torch award of the evening is the prestigious Individual of Integrity. This award will be presented by last year's honoree, Mac Parker, and assisting with the presentation is sponsor CVC Communications, represented by the president, Bill Townsend.
Thank you for that kind introduction. I also thank the Better Business Bureau for last year's award. After what Don Wood said about attorneys, I feel really fortunate. Last year, they saved the announcement of who was actually going to receive the award until the end, so it would be a surprise. But this year, I'm going to tell you right up front, because he's too well known for me to stand here and say anything about him, because you would know immediately who it is there. So it's my honor to present this year's Individual of Integrity Award to my good friend, Ian Rolland. Ian, come on, stand up. I'm sure that most of you know that within the last 2 weeks, Ian has received the Governor's Award, the Sachem Award, which is the highest award the governor can give. And he only gives one each year. And it's not only for service, it's for integrity also. Tonight, Ian is receiving the award here from the Better Business Bureau, which is one of the highest awards that you can receive in Fort Wayne. And Better Business Bureau is to be very much congratulated on that. Ian's whole career is a real choice of things that he's done well for the city of Fort Wayne. He was a leading voice of school desegregation, as you may remember. He was instrumental most recently in preserving the Lincoln Collection here in Fort Wayne and down at the State Museum. He continues his involvement in many, many charities, educational institutions, and also many businesses, almost too numerous to name. His financial generosity in the area is well known, as is Mimi's, but his greatest legacy can be found in the countless hours of his time and talent he's contributed to many organizations throughout his career. And particularly impressive is a number of parks and important buildings in Fort Wayne where Ian was either the leader or was one of the principal drivers. And I'll just name a few for you: Headwaters Park, Follinger Fryman Conservatory, the Courthouse Green, and most recently the Fort Wayne Museum of Art there. Rather than cite a list of Ian's accomplishments, which would take us a very long time, I'm going to share some comments from a few people to illustrate the impact that Ian has had on virtually every walk of life in this community. Most of us know Ian as the former CEO of Lincoln, as you heard Nancy say earlier here, but fellow executive Gabe Shaheen described Ian this way: here's a man who is synonymous with the word integrity in terms of how he ran the company, in terms of commitment to the various constituencies that you have in a company, including the community where your employees live and work. Ian's definitely been a role model for me and for many, many people throughout Lincoln, said Gabe Shaheen. As an icon of leadership in the business community, Robert Staggs, Jr., President and CEO of NiSource, describes Ian this way: Ian has been the longest-serving board member of NiSource, and in 2006 assumed the important role of independent chairman of the board. Ian has not only provided our company with a keen understanding of business and utility issues, but also an important perspective of the role corporate citizenship can play on building stronger companies and communities. Ian is also deeply committed to education. Here are comments from two of the institutions of higher education that Ian has positively impacted. Ian's impact on DePauw, that's a place I know also, and on its students has been meaningful and sustained. There, he has provided scholarship funds for talented students with limited means, endowed a chair in the economics department, and with his wife, Mimi, there, provide the funds to erect a welcome center in our 452-acre nature park at DePauw. A forward-thinking business leader, Ian firmly believed corporations have an obligation to give back to the communities both in talent and money. The values that Ian promoted at Lincoln are exemplified by his involvement at the University of St. Francis. He has been a board member, leading financial supporter of the university, and respected voice in the community for the university's mission and purpose. That was Don Schenkel. Governor Mitch Daniels very recently described Ian this way: he's one of the great citizens in recent Indiana history, a superb businessman who created jobs by the thousands, a leader for civil rights and a host of civic causes, a champion of the environment and conservation, and always an exemplar of the highest standards of personal integrity. Along with his accomplishments, Ian is also a kind of down-to-earth type guy. Ted Rolfe and Bill Townsend used to run with Ian back in the early 90s as members of a group that met each day at the Y to run outdoors. Well, there's more walking than running these days because of a few knees. Ted and Bill both always thought of Ian as just one of the guys, giving as much of the banner as he took. He wouldn't have had it any other way. Before giving the mic to Ian, let me share just one final story. A number of years ago, one of the Fort Wayne newspapers worked with a national organization to identify the top 10 leaders in business, government, or politics who had the greatest influence in the community. The list included a lot of names that I'm sure you know. There are Helene Follinger, Dick Dormer, federal judge Jesse Eschbaugh, Orvis Beers, Bob Armstrong, Paul Schaefer, Dick Inskeep, and some others. But as you, I'm sure, recognize, the top choice, of course, was Ian. Not only that, he was regarded as the most respected. What I didn't tell you was when the survey was done. It was not done recently. It wasn't done in the 90s or even in the 80s. This survey was done in the 70s, almost 35 years ago. The test of personal integrity and leadership is really a test of time, a test that Ian lives and lives up to every day. Please join me in celebrating this year's Individual of Integrity, Ian Rolland. There he is.
Thanks, Mac. You delivered that just like I wrote it. But Mac's a fellow DePauw graduate. We're ready to take over the world. They didn't have one thing on the bio that I thought I'd mention, and that is the governor last week called me an exciting actuary. Those of you that deal with actuaries know what I'm talking about. This is a wonderful award. The story about the Better Business Bureau and the lot that the Lincoln contributed, I remember the visit that I got about that lot, and we were delighted to turn that over to the Better Business Bureau. The Lincoln had been a supporter of the BBB for a long period of time, and it was we felt an organization that set a standard in the community, and it was important to support it. And I'm delighted. I helped a little bit in raising the money for the current headquarters, and I think it's great, all the good work that the BBB does in Fort Wayne. Integrity is always something that's been really important to me. And tell you just a little story. My father was an electrical contractor in Fort Wayne. And he ran a company called Dix Kelly Electric Company, which was one of the largest electrical contractors in town. They did a lot of work for Wolf and Dessars. I'm sure there are a few of you that remember Wolf and Dessars. It's a place where the city has their offices now. And Bud Latz, the Latz family was an owner of that company, and Bud Latz said to me one day, he said, "I used to work with your dad." And he said, "You know," we called him Scotty. He was a good Scotchman. And he said, "You always knew with your dad that you didn't need to write a contract, that you could shake hands and you would be assured that whatever we agreed on with that handshake, your dad would get done." And I thought, geez, someday I'd like to be remembered that way. And so that's why this award tonight is so meaningful, because it is a culmination of a goal of my personal life and business career, that to be known as a person of integrity. And one last thing I really need to do, and that is, since others have introduced their wives as, and I've got a top, the best one, and this is my very, very, very beautiful wife, Mimi Rolland. Now you don't know what a deal it is to get her here, because she once told me, this was before the governor called, she once said, "I'm not going to any more award banquets where you're honored." Well, she's here tonight. That puts a lot of pressure on me, and it indicates that we both feel this award is pretty important. So again, thanks very much. This is meaningful, and I'll cherish it for the rest of my life. Thank you.